find it. Thank you.
That sounded just like Martha.
All right, let me,
All right.
I'm gonna move everyone's faces so I will not be able to see you. So we'll get started. Okay. All right, so again, welcome everyone. This is the Dual Language Grades 3 through 6 Virtual Summer Institute session. A little bit about your presenters today. I am Denise Garcia. I've been teaching for a few years now. I have, up north, I have 2 years of experience in a 5th grade dual language classroom, and then I have 4 years of English only experience, and I have going on to my 4th year of experience for 6th grade dual language.
And I'm Martha Pacheco. I've been teaching a few more than Denise. This will be my 25th year. We started back in the day of bilingual education, and then went on to 2nd grade. And then now I'm 5th grade teacher at Voorhees.
Okay, nuestra intención de aprendizaje, just as a reminder, this is a dual language session, so we will be probably going back and forth in both languages, just so that you are aware. Nuestra intención de aprendizaje, aprenderemos cómo navegar el Google Drive de doble inmersión y usar los recursos proporcionados para crear lecciones significativas para que los estudiantes la usen en entorno de aprendizaje a distancia. Y nuestro criterio de éxito es que tendremos éxito cuando hayamos navegado por las unidades de doble inmersión, identificado recursos útiles y podamos entender cómo mantener la participación de los estudiantes y proporcionar comentarios virtuales significativos.
For some reason, I cannot move to the next slide.
Letting me go. There.
Okay, guys.
There we go.
Oh, one more. Things we'll not be addressing today are such things as assessment calendars. Not that we don't want to, but we don't have any information yet. School schedules, information, opinions regarding return to school safety procedures, teacher prep, contact time, any IT, Wi-Fi issues, grading policies, all that is to come. But meanwhile, we do have a parking lot. If you have any questions that you need answers to, you may go on there and I will put it in the chat in a second.
Thank you. So today's agenda, we are scheduled to be here until 3 o'clock, so just be aware of that. So we're doing our introductions. We'll go over our priorities, our norms, our pillars of dual language, our digital lesson plans that we have, our virtual, how to engage in a virtual classroom, how to have collaboration in a virtual classroom. Mrs. Canseco will be sharing a little bit about the GABE that she attended this summer and a few resources for you to use later on.
All righty, our core priorities, excuse me. We are a culture of collective efficacy, meaning we work together for the better of the students. We are a culture of teaching and learning. We believe kids need to get the best instruction. Culture of student-centered schools, where we build strong relationships to get students on board with us. A culture of access and inclusion to ensure a multi-tiered system of support of all learners. We try to give them the best education possible and meet their needs.
All right, and so here are our norms. Of course, be present. We do want you to be participating and listening to the conversations that we'll be having today. remain available to be on the mic. So just as a little reminder, there is a mic next to you on your screen, and to turn it on and off, you just click on that. If it has a little red line, that means your microphone is off. So just kind of remember, if you want to speak up or say anything, to turn it back on so that we can hear you. Respond and comment as needed. And then I'm sure as all of you already know, Zoom is definitely like a walkie-talkie, and it only takes the sound in from one person. So definitely be mindful of that so that we can all have an opportunity to share and we can hear everyone's voice. And then of course, have grace with yourself and others. We're all figuring this out together. So if you have something you want to share, definitely put that out there, but let's all keep in mind and be patient with each other. All right, so this is a message from Mr. Lukey, and let me go ahead and play that for you. And then can you guys hear that?
No.
Okay. Let me pause that. All right, give me 1 second to share the sound here. Let's see.
Like unshare, Denise, and go back to share so you can click on those two things where your radio you can hear your video on Zoom.
They'll show up on the bottom. When you start
Yeah.
sharing, they'll show up on the bottom of your screen to the left. You have to enable the sound.
Yeah.
Oh, I already did.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Darn it.
Let me go back to present and play. It should work if I can hit play.
Good morning and welcome to Summer Virtual Institute. I appreciate and thank all of you for joining us this week and willing to learn with us as we lean into a new year of learning with our students. This is not the instructional program that we had hoped to accomplish this year in terms of our students starting the year in a virtual format. But I believe that together we will build a strong instructional program to support the students of our district. So I want to speak a little bit about the importance of this week's learning with respect to our instructional program and emphasize a couple of key points for us before we start today. First and foremost, I'd like to emphasize the importance of understanding what the state is requiring of school districts this year, in that there are a set number of instructional minutes that we must adhere to. It is our goal that through the virtual nature of our instructional program over the first quarter, that we can rise above and beyond those minimum minutes, ensuring that our students receive ample in-person to the best of our ability instruction, meaning synchronous learning, where we are zooming in with our students online, supporting them, teaching them, equipping them with the skills to be successful in this virtual format. And then we are also balancing that with what we call asynchronous time, where we are assigning kids to complete assignments through many of our instructional tools and resources, while we as teachers and educators work in small groups with students who simply need more time with intervention. And so you are going to receive a lot of information from our instructional services support team. You are going to receive a lot of tools and resources to support you with the instructional design of our program for this year. Just know that we're in this together. Let's support each other. Let's be there for each other. And let's work together to make the very best and strongest instructional program for our students. So once again, thank you very much. I look forward to learning with you this week, and I look forward to a successful school year. Thank you.
All
righty. So throughout this presentation, we have links, and you will get a copy of the presentation later on in the end. So all these links, you might want to take a few notes, those of you new to DI, for this next piece. Okay, so in DI, we strive to have, we follow 3 pillars. The 3 pillars of dual education are bilingualism and biliteracy, creating students that are both bilingual and biliterate. We strive for academic excellence, high levels, And we want students to learn through a social cultural competence. We have linked here 2 documents. We have a, oh my gosh, I just forgot what he does. Hold on. Why is it
Dr. Medina?
Oh, you need to give me remote access again, Denise.
Oh,
Oh, I need to ask you for it, sorry. Yes, Dr. Medina is our consultant, and he has come out and shared a few of his materials. And later on, Maria will be sharing more information that she received at a CAVIT conference. So here, let me open this. A few pages that you might be interested in are page 10, which takes you through the 3 different pillars. And Dr. Medina says, you know, we should start off the year right away asking students, what is it? Why are you in dual immersion? You know, what are you here for? And definitely going over the 3 pillars with them. That should be one of your first 3 days of school activities, getting them to know what our pillars are. Another page you should write down is page 24. Page 24 is his way of putting our learning intentions, success criteria. And so he walks you step by step, because he is very much into the 4+1, which is our listening, speaking, sorry if you can't see this, listening, speaking, reading and writing, and also metacognitive linguistics. So he walks you straight through that step by step, how to build your learning intentions. Alrighty, and one more, page 31. Cultural learning targets, okay, which will go along with the 3rd pillar, which Maria will talk about later on in the presentation. Oops, how do I get back?
just go, I'll do it.
Please.
Let's see.
Yeah, if we keep switching off, it's me. I have control and I'm not afraid to use it. Another document here linked for you, a beautiful 3-page document, 300-page document, I'm sorry, is our guiding principles, which is for us to check our implementation. Where are we as a school? Oh, sorry, I have to log in, and once you add this in, it takes you right into all the documents, and it's pretty much like rubrics for you to see where are you, what stage are you, where can you get better. Go ahead and take me back, Denise.
Okay.
Alrighty. Any questions? Any? Don't see.
Okay. So the next thing we're going to do is Martha's going to put this link on the chat right now. And once you're in there, what I would like for you to do is using a word or a phrase. What are your thoughts on virtual learning? So she's going to put it in the chat right now. Please go ahead and open up that link, and then we'll give you about a minute or so that you can type in your words or phrases, and then we can go over that.
Alrighty, guys.
Whoops.
Okay, there you go. You log into menti.com, or just click the link, I'm sorry.
And the code is 75635. I'm not sure if it's visible there for you guys.
Deborah, can you explain your comment on the chat? Oh, you're muted.
Mute yourself.
Oh, now.
There you go.
Okay. Okay. So I'm going back to the chat actually to remember exactly. It means a channel.
What was the code, Denise? Sorry, I'm sorry. What was the code again?
The code is 75635.
Sorry, I'm sorry, Deborah. Thank you.
No, that's fine. My comment has to do with the fact that I have heard so many teachers talking about how it's challenging, which is true, very challenging. A reminder that great teaching will be great teaching everywhere. It's a platform. Obviously, we'll have to be aware of the details to be able to know how to connect, meaning the platform, how to connect the students to it, the families to it. But the bottom line is the connection to the students. So with that purpose in mind, it's going to be virtual learning, meaning the key part is learning, not virtual. Although obviously we'll have to know the intrinsics of virtualism, let's say, to be able to connect with them, but not to forget the goal is to connect with the students. So the purpose is going to be that connection in itself.
Right, thank you.
Sure.
So hopefully everyone had a moment to be able to share their thoughts on, what your thoughts are on virtual learning. And just keep in mind, we are going to be sharing a few strategies throughout our presentation. And this is definitely a fun one, an easy one for your kids to be able to access. As you notice, the website is Menti. But I believe when you search for it, it's going to be mentimeter.com. And it actually has a variety of different components. It has polls on there. It has the question when it makes the Wordle like you're seeing here, which is kind of nice because as people are adding words on here, they show up on there as well. So if there's a word that shows up, I believe, numerous times, the word does get larger and larger. So this is a nice way of producing language. Especially we all have our language learners, and this is a nice way of, seeing a visual representation of that. And some of the words that people are sharing are opportunity, flexibility, potential for new ideas, definitely. Essential parent support, absolutely. We're definitely gonna have to be organized here. And unsure, tired, definitely. So thank you everyone for sharing. It's Andrea, it looks like, maybe refresh your screen. I'm not sure why it's not letting you on there. Okay, any questions here? Also, just keep in mind, we did go ahead and let me go back to the presentation, sorry. Once we're done with the presentation, you will get a copy of this. And we went ahead and added a variety of other websites where you can put Wordles together. However, Menti is the one that allows for a lot of more, it's more versatile when you are working on that. Okay, so we're gonna move on, to the sample lessons. Just keep in mind, these are made by teachers for teachers, and these are samples. Once you get access to them, please feel free to make them your own, make them work for you and whatever your needs are for your students. So this first one is a lesson from Mrs. Moreno in 3rd grade. So I'm just gonna show you what she has here. This is actually a great lesson because it's kind of formats along with the LPAC, which again, I don't know if that's something students are going to be doing this year, but it has a nice
As of right now, yes.
Oh, okay, so this is definitely something we want to make sure that we're still integrating with our students so that we can have them prepare when it comes to that that assessment. So if you notice here, she has it as week 1. The rules and the laws, this is her title, and it might be like the focus for that week based on a theme or something she might be doing. Learning intention and success criteria, obviously always important. So she starts her, I don't know what point in the day she might have this, but she has her picture here. And of course, you always want to have a picture that's, you know, you have your kids produce a lot of language with. And she has her prompt, what do you notice? And then on her next slide, she has it already broken down nicely on her parts of speech. So depending on your grade level and your kids, it might be something interactive where your kids are sharing parts of speech out loud and you're writing them down, or you might want your students to themselves to actually write the word in there so that everyone else can kind of see the language that is being produced by each student. And then if you notice here at the bottom, you have some lines. That might be a sentence that you're focusing on. You might work on compound sentence, for example, and you're all working on putting one together, and you can do that at the bottom. So it looks like she kind of runs through that pattern. So she has another nice picture on day 2. Again, same prompt. What do you notice? Of course, that isn't the only prompt available, but if you want to kind of start there and just increase so that you can increase the language, of course, you can always do that as well. And then I wanted to go to her last day, presumably her Friday. She added all of her images here from the week. So the idea is that all of the students have been participating, collaborating, producing that higher level language. And then the way that I can see this being done here is maybe you assign this to a student and you want them to produce some writing here. Or, you know, you can have them produce the language and then check off as a teacher, oh, you did great on these things, or vice versa. I'm gonna check off vocabulary. That's what I'm gonna be looking for in your writing for the end of the week here. So that's a really nice example from 3rd grade. Spanish language arts example. This is mine actually. So this is a 6th grade example. I set mine up here for the full week, similar to Mrs. Moreno with her ALD. And the way that I did mine was, again, the learning intentions and success criteria already set up for the full week. I added links to mine so that since we're going to be working off of this the full week, they can open it up on Wednesday per se and go directly to that. So I'll just show you kind of like the setup, and if there are some questions in the chat, Marta, let me know, or just kind of jump in so I can slow down a bit. So I started off the day and I took a picture of their booklet or their consumable. I added the essential question, which is, ¿por qué podrían las sociedades formar distintos tipos de gobierno? And then again here, I add the learning intention and success criteria. So you want to make sure that you're front loading your student with what the focus of your lesson will be. We do start with central idea, and I personally like to bombard my students with the expectation and the question type. So I do that here. ¿Cuál es la idea central de la escritura Simón Bolívar, el Libertador, escrito por Tatiana Acosta? Usa evidencia para respaldar tu respuesta. So throughout the week, I am making sure to always bring our conversations back to this question. So I'm pretty much guiding them through how to read the question, how to break it down, how to understand what it's really requiring of them. I have some posters here that they'll be copying down. Again, everything I want to make sure that is written, and I'll be, this will be during my synchronous teaching. So this is when I have my kids with me. They will also be looking at it, but it gives them an opportunity also to be reading the steps along with me in case for some reason they're confused or whatever that may be. So I kind of just move the steps. I'm integrating my thinking maps. I have a sound bite here for further explanation. They can always come back and refer to this, maybe if they have some homework that they need to do. I added a screenshot of the link. This actually, excuse me, a screenshot of the article that we'll be reading. And then here, I actually inserted a link in case the student loses their booklet at home or whatever it may be, they have direct access to that. So if the student logs on to their Clever account, it'll take them directly to that. They can hit the play button if a student needs more help with the reading. That's all accessible to them. And then here, once again, the directions. And then I wanted to make sure that my students can, you know, be not only reading and following along, but kind of jumping on another site and collaborating in different ways and showing their work. So I'll be linking things to Flipgrid or a Wordle or whatever it may be to kind of just keep things moving along in the classroom. So once again, they'll be doing work here, and then they'll be submitting their work on this link to the Google Classroom. So added a Jiffy there just to kind of make things a little bit fun. And I just follow, once again, that format. We want to make sure that we're adding those sentence frames so that students are producing language and that they have those things to kind of rely on. So I work throughout. Here's my, again, we were talking about one of the pillars for socio-cultural competence, and that's how I'm integrating it here. I'm making sure that I'm adding an interesting question that my students can talk about. So it just follows that same format throughout. And of course, it's going to get more and more complex as we work through our unit. Martha, are there any questions in the chat right now?
I do not see any.
Okay, I'll keep going. All right, the next one is a fifth grade math sample from the district. And if you've already gone to those math trainings, you might have seen this already. The summer task force really did a great job on breaking things down for each grade level. So if you've already seen this, you know that they've done like a really good job. So this is just an example of the first full week of school. Once you go in there on the EdTech website, which we'll give you access to later, you can see it breaks down the targets, has the skills that students will need to be able to take away, learning intention, everything is here broken down for you. If you notice here, if you scroll all the way down, it'll have your resources. One thing I would definitely say is please make sure that you look at any lesson ahead of time if you plan on using it. A lot of these lessons are supposed to be set up for you to just, you know, get started, but I really suggest you take the time, open it up. You might need to tweak some things here and there to kind of work in your classroom. So definitely take the time to do that. So if you notice at the very bottom, everything is hyperlinked, which is really nice. And then Google's had an update where you don't even have to open up a new tab. You can just look at your previews here without having to go into depth. So always look at this, make sure that you understand what the expectation is and if it's going to work out for your students. Of course, for us dual language teachers, depending on your grade, more than likely you might need to take this and then still translate it to the Spanish language. So definitely keep that in mind, please. Okay, this is the EdTech Center.
Alrighty, so where are all these great lessons housed? They are housed in this EdTech Center. So you will have a link to take you directly to it. So again, like Denise was saying, all these lessons are housed here by grade level. And we made it, some of us made it anyway, to the EdTech. We'll have a dual immersion tab. Some grades are not uploaded yet, like I believe 6th grade. They're still working on that to put our lessons, but we'll show you where they are later on. Tab that I wanted you guys to focus on over here, which I think is great, especially for those teachers that are a little nervous about the virtual aspect, is the how-to tutorials for kids. They're great videos to help kids, to show them. You could probably play them while you're Zooming with the kids, how to go in, how to split your screen, how to, so that they can get in their short little videos, some of them.
With your teacher, they may want you to also work on a website.
And you hear that?
Yeah, I believe they should, if this sounds true.
Okay. So just simple little things that make your virtual experience a little bit better with your kiddos. So many videos for you to pick from, depending on your level of need. So great, like I said, how to set up your Google Classroom. I believe also how to set up a Google site. Great videos there to help you. And the EdTech people are willing to help as soon as you reach out to them. Another tab I wanted you to focus on was the family communication. They did summer school to try out some of these things. And here there's great samples of parent letters, also I believe tutorials to help parents. So lots of great things for you, ideas. Okay. Denise, can you take me back?
Yeah.
Can I just add real quick to that? So based on what they're saying, there was a, in the other dual immersion, the K2, can you share some of these with parents? You can share the individual videos. Don't share the whole website because I think that's overwhelming. But sharing one video in case they need it, I think it's great. And just so you know, we do have a team that's going to translate. Here at in the district office, we all kind of looked at all the videos. So we're going to end up translating the ones that we feel parents might need. And you know, and I was telling the other group that these are just for kids, and I'm thinking, no, some of them are for me. So there's no shame in for me that I can say that some of those I love for myself. But again, it can be for your parents. But again, don't share the website in itself. Share the individual videos. If a parent says, you know, I need help here, and eventually they're going to translate the videos that we need translated. So just be aware that they are working on that as we speak. And also, if there's a video that for some reason doesn't show up and you want it translated, just email Rachel Fambro. She'll work on it, but she already has a list of about 10 that we wanted translated for our parents. And in terms of the extensions on the same website, all those extensions have been vetted, and so they've been approved by the district. And Denise sent me some that are being currently vetted by the IT department. And so they're going to vet them and making sure that they're okay. But if you do have certain extensions that you want, just email Rachel Fambro, because before we can put them and add them to our Google Suite, we have to vet them, and the IT department does that. So just adding that plug. Okay, sorry, Martha.
Oh, perfect. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Okay, so we're gonna move on. Again, like we said before, we wanna make sure that through our presentation, we're also showing you, little things that you can do in your classroom to kind of split the time up so that they're not just sitting there listening, because we all know that is really difficult to do. So Martha's gonna put in the chat another link, and that is gonna be the link to a Google form. So what we would like for you to do is, I think we actually changed this last minute, now that I'm noticing, is it still oh yeah, no, it's still correct, sorry. So take a moment to fill out the form by clicking on the link that Martha is adding on there. And once again, here are a list of other sources that you can use to also ask some questions and to gather some information from your students as well. So that is going to take us to the Google form here. So that is what you should be viewing there.
Go ahead and fill it out. We're going to show you live.
So as you see, as people are filling that out, as the teacher, it's going to be up to you whether you want to show it to your students or not. Of course, that's also going to depend on the type of question that you're putting out there for your students. It might be a question that you have that you want to kind of use to kind of get conversations started and really get your students engaged on something. So this is a good way of doing that. So I'll give you guys a few more minutes. I only see 3 responses. So that also lets me know that I need to give you more wait time. So I'll go ahead and let you fill that out.
I have a question, if I may. I can wait as well.
Go ahead. We can that'll give other people some time to fill that out.
Thanks. The question I have is about if we have some type of bank of ideas, videos, mostly for the new teachers, but a new teacher to dual immersion. We have teachers who are experienced, veteran teachers, amazing teachers, and who want now to actually invest in their dual immersion capacity as well. And so what is going to be the support they have in terms of independently? Somebody may be working on lesson plans and they may be like, you know, the way it's like, maybe 7 p.m. at home, the kids are having snack and you don't want to call somebody, but if you have told me, what do we do? Do we have such a source of information?
Yes, and we will be going over that towards the end, Deborah, but thank you for asking. Yeah, we will go over that. There is a place where we're going to be housing all of the resources so that everyone gets equal access to that.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, James.
Right, so it looks like most of you have responded, so thank you for participating. So this gives you the view of the Google form that you have, and just like I am sharing on my screen, you can do that with your students as well. So I'm going to show you very quickly. We made sure not to collect emails so that people can feel more comfortable responding, but of course, you might want to collect emails, and then once you talk to your students or have a conversation, maybe at the end of the day, you might want to come back to this, and this will kind of guide your teaching for the following day. So it kind of gives you a quick understanding of what would you like to see more of. And of course, Spanish language arts, because it's the one thing that, you know, we're definitely on our own as far as like the district and resources goes for that. So that's interesting. And then the one that people have the least amount is other and ELA. So if this were a classroom, maybe I want to engage my students and have a conversation of what might the other be, or what are those things that you know, students are requesting or asking for. And then you have a nice little chart here that gives you that information. So I have to follow the lessons in order that they were made. That is false. Thank you, 91% of you. Yes, remember, the lessons, you want to make a copy on your own and then make sure to you know, tweak it and move it as you desire. These are meant for you to make them yours. So I'm gonna, let's see, how do you feel about the information given to you right now? Okay, good. I'm glad everyone is feeling good about this information. Okay, do we have samples for new teachers for DI to use as a reference? These, what we're showing you right now, these are samples, and we will give you access to that so that you can see that later on your time when you're kind of ready to go. So that is your form. You can look at it, and then just very quickly here, those of you that might not be well-versed in Google Forms here, you can always click on this, and this will create a data sheet. And depending on what you're collecting, you might want the data sheet, you might not, but it's really nice to very easily just look at it very uniformly. It also gives you, I'm not going to get into it too much because it'll take me down a rabbit hole, but you can also click the explore button right here, and that'll grab the data depending on your questions and what it looks like, and it'll put it in charts also, and it makes it really pretty. So just kind of keep that in mind. There's a lot of things you can do, and I'm pretty sure there's already videos in the EdTech website that you can use as a resource to kind of help you through that.
Just real quickly, so what this just, I know you're gonna hear it at some point, but it's very important what this team is doing, because they're documenting interaction and engagement with kids. And because there is a requirement by the new law that we have right now that you have to document. You can't just interact and engage, you have to document it. So this is actually, it's date stamp, time stamp, and that's what you need. So just kudos to this form of making sure that you have that documentation.
Great, so 2 birds, 1 stone. All right, so let's keep going. All right, so we're gonna go into engagement in a virtual classroom. Every time we see this, it makes me laugh, so I really like it. Okay. All right, so in order to have your students engaged in the virtual classroom, we already know this is gonna be difficult, but there's a few things that you can do on the regular basis to really kind of hone in on that skill. So please make sure, and this will be difficult, I'm sure, at the beginning for all of this, but again, just gotta get into the mojo of everything, is make sure that you're posting regular announcements. And that can mean, you know, putting funny pictures on there to make sure that they're getting used to seeing things. Adding things to the calendar. Just as a reminder, the Google Suite works together, which means that all of your apps that go with Google, so like your Jamboard, your Docs, your Google Classroom, your Google Calendar, those all work together to function very well. So for example, if you add an assignment in your Google Classroom and you put a deadline on it, it will actually transfer directly to the student's calendar as well. You just kind of have to guide them through how to turn on their calendars and remind them that they need to be responsible for that. So this is a nice and easy way of, you know, making that visible for the students. And then I've shown my students in the past that you can color code. I've taught them how to put in their own things on their calendar. And that's a nice way of kind of just, you know, growing that skill of being responsible and staying on top of assignments, which they'll need in the future anyways. Another thing here is just another picture in the, I had this in my slides of, again, regular announcements, maybe just reminders of what are the expectations for this assignment. I'm gonna put them right here. They're always gonna be in this one spot in your Google Classroom, whatever it may be. Just again, the key here is to do things on the regular basis so that your students know that you're there and they can get access to you.
If I may, I love these features. Mostly, I am a support staff member and I have to step into different classrooms, let's say, to support it. So I love the idea that I can virtually have a master plan and share with everybody, or rather they share with me, because I see it's not intrusive, it's very respectful, and it's very inclusive for the benefits of the students. And so each professional in their own classrooms will have the support that I can provide in my case, and I will have all the data I need to provide the support. So I love that new layer that virtualism, let's say, is providing to our teachers and the students both.
Yeah, definitely. And another thing that just came to mind while you were sharing actually is I know there's going to be a component where students are doing small group, and maybe, I don't know how it's going to work, but maybe you want to schedule it in with them so that they know they're prepared for that small group guided reading assignment or whatever it may be, and you can calendar that in for them so that they're also ready. So this can be definitely very versatile or very simple depending on how comfortable you are or how in depth you want to go with it. So
I love that. May I ask a question, Denise?
Yes, go ahead.
If I have a question down the road, do you mind, ladies, if I reach to you in the middle of the school year?
Definitely, that's totally fine. That's what we're all here for. We're all working together to be better for our kiddos.
Thank you. Likewise. Thank you.
All right, so we're moving on to the next one. So this one's definitely, all of these are important, but I feel like this one's really important, especially because I know how busy we can get and caught up in our day activities, especially when we're going to be behind a screen. So you want to make sure that you are replying to your students as often as possible. You want to make sure that your students know that you're there to help them. that you want to help, and that you are doing everything in your power to make that happen. So we have some two separate examples. So one here is of a student who was needing some technology help online. And of course, I'm not going to pick up the phone and call. So we were kind of going back and forth in the Google Stream and just commenting back and forth, and pretty much having, like, you know, the old school days where you have a chat room. So it's pretty much the same function. And she knew that she can go on there and address any issue or any help that she needed. And I was always, you know, doing my best to communicate and solve any questions or problems that they would have. Another thing that you want to make sure that could definitely come in very helpful is going into your Google Classroom settings and turning on your notifications. I know a lot of you already have those probably preset, but maybe you want to turn those on so that anytime that you set that is time for the kids to come and ask questions, that it alerts you and that you can go into the Google Stream. I know sometimes it'll just go on there and you don't get notified. So definitely make sure that, you know, if this is something that you want, that you have it turned on so that you get access to your students and vice versa there. Martha, are there any comments in there that I need that we have, or?
All good.
Okay.
All right, so now types of communication, different apps that you can use to communicate with students. I know there are some teachers using Screencastify to record videos of themselves to answer back to the students. And also they show their students how to do that as well. I know it says varied communication, but I do want to caution you there is such a thing as using too many. For example, if you're going to do Zoom, stick to Zoom. Or if you're going to do Google Meets, stick to Google Meets. But here, Class Dojo, I know our school has decided that, well, before Parent Center came into play, or Parent Square, I believe it's called, came into play, we were going to use Class Dojo as a way to communicate with parents. Not sure if that'll be changing now.
So answer that, Martha. So Parent Square, it's going to be through Aries, and because Aries has all of the information, it's a really neat program. If you have a high school kid or a Panama, that's what they use, and it's really neat. It's kind of like a Remind with Class Dojo, with everything you can think of that program does. So the primary form of communication is going to be Parent Square, and everybody's going to get trained. So however, you can continue to use Class Dojo, but that cannot be your primary mode of communication. And the other group, I kind of explained why I had, you know, a lot of teachers like it, and I know a lot of teachers use it. That's not a program that we vetted in terms of if it's safe, the security of it, kids posting parents. There's a lot of things that it doesn't protect. You know, like I know in the past, well, I'm not going to go into, but it's not as safe as it is, period. So it's not a vetted program for BCSD. You can still use Class Dojo, but one of the reasons why that can't be primary is because not every teacher in BCSD uses Class Dojo. So if a kid moves from one school to the next, then that parent's going to have to relearn some other program. And so it's not fair to the kid, it's not fair to the parent. So our primary is Aries, but of course you can continue to use Class Dojo, but Class Dojo is in addition to Aries. So,
all right.
That's my commercial.
Gone, look, gone. No, I'm just kidding. Okay. A Google site, I added that. So you'll have access to my site. Please make a duplicate if you want to use it. So we decided that we're going to be housing our assignments here, communication with our parents. So you'll see a little bit of the 3 pillars. In the Parent Center, you'll have some links there that parents can easily click to go to your schedule.
Did you want to show us your site, or it's just
gonna... I thought it was there, sorry. My bad. I clicked on the wrong screen. Here we go. And stop me if you need to. Alrighty, so tell a little bit about yourself, a little bit of the pillars here, parent section, some links to easy access for the parents to get information that they need. This one are Google Classroom links to, you can embed it here to your Google site so that parents are aware, assignments coming up, students are aware, assignments that are going to be due. Let me switch here. This is a form Denise created to get parents to ask us questions, something they need answered. Like Deborah was saying, at 7 o'clock at night, or they might have a question, they can submit and we'll receive that information later. For students, still a work of progress here. Also, there are links, easy access to my Google Classroom that I set up for them. Down here at the bottom, we'll be linking assignments, kind of like a Google Doc with links to take them where they need to navigate to on a weekly basis. Any questions? All right.
I have a question about a comment from Ms. Orozco. It says I have to be given permission, so I'm requesting permission to access the link.
I just opened the link. I just created, I just put that, just so you know, in hearing you talk, Martha and Denise, sometimes for parents, we're learning, or I'm learning, that it's easier for them to scan a QR code, because any smartphone, the camera is a QR code reader. And so I added a link of how to create a QR code in case, you know, any link can become a QR code. So sometimes if you want to send it to a student or a parent, this becomes really easy, versus it's harder for them when you send like a long link. It's not going to happen. But for all of us, you know, QR code is so easy nowadays. So just in case you're interested in how to create a link and make it a QR code. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but Deborah, you have access.
I love it. Thanks. It's a great idea. Thanks.
All righty. Oh, I keep clicking on the wrong screen.
Sorry
guys.
about that.
No, you're okay.
More information, the better.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so another thing too is to use feedback to build relationships. I know this is something that, you know, is at the forefront of our minds. Like, how are we going to build relationships? Those 3 days, you know, is when we really try to build relationships as soon as possible with our kiddos. So it's still possible. It's not impossible. Is it going to be a little bit trickier? Definitely, but you know, we can push through and make it happen still. So one way of doing that is definitely your comment section. And again, if you're using the Google Classroom, again, in your stream, you can add that in there. There's a way that you can send comments even on the stream that go directly to 1 or 2 students. So if you want to do that, definitely play around with your settings, ask for help. It can be done. So please take the time to learn how to do that so that you can, you know, speak to your students. So of course, you want to make sure that you are integrating and speaking to them, you know, in a timely manner. But here is our 2 examples of how, you know, little things like responding back to your students, it does build relationship. The fact that they know that you are there, that you're reading their questions, that you're answering their questions, that the kids notice that, and that those things do matter. So a student forgot to do something and they were unsure, and then the response was right there from the teacher right away. This one is an example of a presentation that a student was doing. Feedback was given back to the student and they responded back, kind of thing. So these things are, you know, little ways that you can build that relationship with your students. The more that you're going back and forth in a more personalized manner, the better it will be for building the relationship with your students. All right, guys, so we are gonna take a 5-minute break. It is 1:57, so please be back at 2:02. I believe we will set the time here as well. So please be back in 5 minutes, ready to go. If you need to stretch or get some water.
If you have some questions, feel free to ask. I'll stick around.
Hey, Martha. Martha.
Yes.
Try to go to the link I put for that. How do you create a QR code? Well, it still says you can't get in. Is it not letting you go in there? Oh, it is?
Yeah.
Denise, did it let you go in there?
Yeah.
How about the
She might
second
not
one?
be logged in.
No, I mean, I can see the presentation. It's the one where it says the example in the presentation itself.
Oh, the presentation's not linked,
Oh, yeah, I don't know
Rocio.
about that. Oh,
Yeah, we'll give that to you in a sec.
No, I'm saying I clicked on the link that Laura posted on the chat box, and then it goes into the presentation on how to create the QR code.
Mhm.
There's a slide there that says example, and then it has a link on, I think it's the second slide. And that
oh, I see what you're saying. The one
yeah,
there.
that one's not working. Yeah, it's not working there.
Okay, let me see.
About 1 more minute, guys. 1 more minute.
Oh, yeah, it won't. Okay.
I was getting ready to do my QR code, but it wouldn't work.
You know what? Let me.
Deborah, if you go on YouTube, it has a bunch of like timer videos, and it's like 15. You can like make a search for like 15-minute timer or anything like that, and a bunch of things pop up, and you can just insert it for the kids. So
Thank you.
It's pretty fun.
It is.
All right, so we're gonna get back to it. Are there any questions from anyone right now?
So I did have a question,
Uh-huh.
and it's about the communicating with students that you were showing just before we went on break.
Yes.
Did you say that was Google Classroom?
Both of these are Google Classroom, yes.
And was that just the comments on the stream?
These were both, I want to say both of these were comments in the private, they're private comments in the assignments. So I know a student turned in an assignment for this one on the right, and then a comment was made, and then the student responded. And then Marta, do you recall if this was your stream or an assignment?
That was also a private message to the student. They had a private comment, but we did link a different one, I believe. Let me see, slide. Oh, maybe we took it out. There is a way for when they do turn in an assignment, you can comment to them.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, that makes sense. Thank you.
All right, so we're gonna keep going here.
All righty, so research, what does research tell us? Okay, so our students and adults, we are social creatures. So we require, you know, collaboration with others.
You're on the wrong screen, Martha, sorry.
On screen.
There you go.
There we go. Okay, so like Denise had mentioned earlier in her lesson, you want to use prompts to spark discussions, and like perfect timing right now, the issues happening right now in our country would be great ways for you to spark that. And Maria will continue with that in a little bit. Oops, sorry about that. Okay. Flipgrid, another great tool for you to use to communicate with students. Padlet, I had linked a Padlet here, an old one, oldie but goodie. You can tell by the Christmas decorations. This was a way for my kids to communicate with me what we were learning. I believe we were doing an opinion piece about what region they would like to live in when we were studying the different regions. So a Padlet lends itself very well for that. Peer Deck, we're not too familiar with that, but we keep hearing that coming up here and there. We do a little more to explore that. Students talking during synchronous learning, very important for us. Of course, you want some to have some Zoom rules there of how to share, how to participate, because you don't want what's happening here in this video. We have, should we play the video?
A quick moment.
I don't want to stress you out of things that during synchronous learning or playing pranks on your teachers. They're very creative though about it. For you know how to didn't share the pencil, share the sign. What we found. Okay.
Hey yo.
Oh.
Hey yo.
Sorry about that. All righty. So a great way for you to get back into those conversations, collaborative conversations, is sharing this piece with them that has those sentence starters for them. Back to present mode. You guys could see it. Those sentence starters, maybe having these little icons ready to go so you can flash these so the students know, are they creating, clarifying, fortifying, negotiating. Like I said, sharing these. My team, they usually could have these ringed pages that they give out to students to have them ready to go as they're as we're teaching. Just pull them out and they have them there. Having some accountable talk little slips for them to know what it is that they're working on. Okay, having them work on group assignments like jigsawing an article, sharing the pen, having the students work on assignments with different color pens so that you know who is participating and who still needs a little prodding to get them to get to work. Be Glad has some great resources for you. We link some videos here. I know not many of you are trained, but they do share some great strategies that are just good teaching tools. Jamboard is a great tool that maybe some of you have used already. Let me click that. And so we have first 3 days of school, we have our social contract. So we thought this would be a great way for students to both collaborate. We could set them up in breakout rooms. We could set them up on this Jamboard so they can talk to each other, see what they want to, how they want to fill out, what information they want to give so that we can create our social contract. Okay, and during asynchronous learning, there are lots of tools out there. We forgot to include some great ones like Kahoot and that kids really love, and I'm sorry, quizzes. Quizzes is the one I really love because they can go at their own pace. But here we've included some like Edpuzzle. Let me go ahead and play that for you.
Want to create amazing video lessons in minutes? Edpuzzle is your missing piece. With Edpuzzle, you can choose from the millions of videos available from YouTube, National Geographic, TED Talks, Khan Academy, and more. You can also reuse ready-to-go video lessons made by other teachers or upload your very own teaching video. Then, use Edpuzzle's video editor to create your perfect lesson. Embed your own questions to check your students' understanding, cut sections to show your students only the most important parts of the video, and even record voiceover so you can explain concepts in your own words. Once you've finished, you can assign it to your students in just one click and prevent skipping to make sure your students don't miss a thing. When you want to check in on your students' progress, use Edpuzzle's hassle-free analytics to get all the information you need. See who still needs to watch the video, what your students responded, and their total scores. So remember, with Edpuzzle's free platform, you can make any video your lesson.
And my favorite, $3.99, guys. How do I get back?
Want to create amazing video lessons?
There you go.
Alrighty. Achieve are resources that we already have right now. Achieve is another great platform in both Spanish and English. For us, Benchmark, students can easily go, oh, sorry, I thought I linked my son's Benchmark page. I was going to show you his page and how he is able to go in and access all of little our booklets that our teaching booklets, our ebooks, all the books for our guided reading, anything like that. All righty.
Just to add on there, also Benchmark is also, like I said at the beginning, a lot of, or maybe I didn't say it, but a lot of education related websites are going through so many updates right now. I think because a lot of us are teaching virtually, they're realizing there's a lot more need for certain things. So the updates they're doing are amazing. We were noticing that in the case of Benchmark specifically, they actually added nice components of writing practice that the students can go and follow through on their own, that, you know, it kind of walks them through some writing practice. And it also has some novels in there that it's added. So just, you know, don't be afraid to play around with all of these resources. We do already have so many resources. Instead of going out there and looking for something new, please look in what we already have access to and see if you can find it there, because like I said, they are updating and a lot of things are really nice to see. Renaissance, I know, has added more articles in Spanish for us. So there's a lot of things that are happening that are pretty awesome right now with virtual teaching.
You know, I had to step out, but did you guys say that for Renaissance, Mayan is for the whole district?
No, we did not say that.
Oh, I apologize. So under Renaissance, at some point, we're working with a PD piece. That's going to be Mr. Gary McCloskey and some of the tech team. But Renaissance has Mayan, and so it's not AR necessarily, but they can actually take a test on the Mayan website. And what's going to happen is it's a virtual library basically, and it self-regulates the kids. So depending on the level, depending on where they're reading, it'll level them out. It will also create, like if they're reading all about sea life, that they're gonna add all these books, the program will add books that they know they're interested in. So it's a really neat program. It actually also counts words that they've read. That's another neat thing. Like you can set a goal for the kiddos of, you know, in Ventura, or it was Ventura County, that there's that district has it where they have the $1 Million Club kids, and so million word kids, And so when the kids read 1,000,000 words, they get a shirt, they get acknowledged at the board meeting. So that's something that, it'd be kind of fun for you. And as you're doing this, like as you're having kids read, remember that you can still send kids, that use snail mail. They can always send them a card, a postcard, a little package, book. Maybe ask Eric if he'd be willing to, pay the postage through the school funds for that. I mean, it's just a great thing. So don't forget about snail mail. Kids, can you imagine? I don't even think how many kids have never received a letter or card, from a teacher. So it's kind of fun. So I had to add the Mayan because it is coming. You are going to get training, but just so you know, all kids, we have a district license, so every kid is going to have access to a virtual library.
Okay, thank you for adding that piece of information there. All right, so now we're gonna move over to Mrs. Canseco, and she's going to be presenting what she learned through the GABE. So Mrs. Canseco, if you are there, you need a request, or no, you need a share screen.
Do you have me as a co-host or?
No, but let me allow you that capability. Give me one moment, sorry. All right, there you go.
Thank you. Let's see.
Are there any questions while Mrs. Canseco is pulling up her slides?
All righty, can you see the slides?
Yes, we can, thank you.
All right. So I went to because I was at home, the virtual Dual Language Institute through GABE. It was a really great presentation, and there was a lot that was given to us. What I really like about it is that they shared all the resources, the keynote speakers, their handouts. So some comments that I really dislike is people telling me, oh, there's a lot of information, but there's only a little bit of time for me to give it to you. I can actually say that, but I can actually give you all the information. So I'm really happy about that I'm going to give you some information that I was able to obtain, and this is what stuck with me, but I'm also going to be sharing with you the resources that they provided us, so that way you can go in and research a little bit more from what interested you. So my name is Maria Canseco Munoz. I'm a 4th-year teacher. The first year I started at Voorhees, I was an English only teacher. So this is going to be my 3rd year teaching in dual language. When Voorhees started expanding, I became the 2nd, 5th grade dual immersion teacher. So I'm really excited. So the keynote speakers that we had were Dr. Jose Medina, Dr. Sonia Soltero, and Dr. David and Yvonne Freeman. You can see the little cursor because I have linked their handouts directly to their images. So any handouts that they gave us is linked right there. Right underneath it are the keynote video archives. So if you want to watch the whole keynote, they're about an hour, a little bit more than an hour, some of them. So if you want to watch them, obviously coming from me is not going to be as powerful as coming from them, right? Because they're the experts in those fields. But it's something that that you can go watch on your own if you have the time, or if you really have that interest in what I'm going to explain. So talking about dual language, we have to understand that dual language is creating opportunities for those who have been marginalized. So we want to make sure that we continue that and we are able to enhance those opportunities for our students. Something that really struck with me was the pyramid of accountability. The pyramid of accountability is basically how are you going to be helping your community? Are you an active ally? For example, are you changing just your Facebook image to a rainbow that represents that you're an ally to the LGBTQ community? Or are you putting the image of the Black Lives Matter movements? Or are you an accomplice in which you can basically have conversations, support what you believe? Or are you a co-conspirator, which is basically a little bit of the bottom ones, an ally and an accomplice, and then you're participating in the marches, you're voting for certain things that you want to change. So you have to really self-reflect, where are you and how far do you want to get, and are you willing to make some changes that are probably going to be really uncomfortable in order to be there and fully supporting your community and your students. Another thing that was mentioned was the sociocultural competence component, which is the third pillar that Martha mentioned already. And within that third pillar, we have to understand that we sometimes are not doing enough in that third pillar. And I did a lot of self-reflecting, and I realized that I do a lot of, I guess, like you can say basic or surface level teaching in that aspect. I read books, I do some current events about sociocultural competence, and I talk about different things, but I don't really dig deeper as I should. So that's some self-reflecting that I did, and I'm going to be embedding a lot more of that in my teaching for this following year. And we have to make sure that we understand that this is a way to create opportunities when we see differences between ourselves and similarities as well. Critical consciousness is kind of embedded within the social cultural competence, but Dr. Jose Medina was mentioning that a lot of people want to see it as a fourth pillar in the future. So if that becomes something, you know what to expect. But basically, we're talking about how not to quiet voices. We want to make sure that we let students have an open forum in our classrooms to be able to feel comfortable to talk about very critical issues in the world, especially if their views are different than our own. We have to make sure that we can help them create dialogue, help them make their vocabulary more expanded, so that way they can have a voice and they can explain their beliefs in a very educated manner, right? And we don't want to silence them, because if we do, we're probably going to be pushing them towards social media, pushing them towards their peers that probably don't really know a lot. So we want to be able to give them that opportunity to be able to talk about something very important. We also have the 4 ways to create a cultural learning target. So the 4 ways were to amplify. We want to make sure that we amplify the voices of the marginalized communities. We want to make sure that we connect to child and or real world, and we want to have cross-linguistic connections and trans-languaging. We want to make sure that we have social and academic language as equals. I really like that last one, because we want to make sure that we give that opportunity for students to come with their home language. Any vocabulary that they use is not wrong. We just want to enhance it and add to it. So if a student comes to my classroom and they're speaking Spanish, and they come and say, oh, mi mamá me trajo en la troca. And then I'm not going to say, no se dice troca, se dice camioneta. No, because you're going to shut their home language down. We want to enhance it, right? Their social language, we want to enhance it. So we can say, ok, oh, tú dices troca en tu casa, que agregarlo a nuestra pared de palabras. Entonces voy a poner una foto de una troca, voy a poner la palabra troca, y también, también se puede decir camioneta. Entonces ahora todos los estudiantes saben que este niño sabe las 2 palabras, troca y camioneta. Another example is that a couple years ago, I had a student from Venezuela, and he said, profe, voy a coger el lápiz de allá. And all my students started cracking up. They could not handle themselves, because, coger and a lot of parts of Mexico or El Salvador, which were a lot of the students at that time that I had, is something else, or it means something else in their homes. So we had to have we got that opportunity to have a really good class discussion as to why my students said coger instead of voy a agarrar, voy a ir a que me den el lápiz. So we had that great opportunity to have those discussions. So we want to make sure that we have those discussions, and we are planning for those discussions as well. It's always great when they just come, but we want to make sure that we plan for them as well. We also are talking about the 5 C's. The 5 C's: compatibility, cohesion, consistency, coordination, and commitment. And this is mainly for the program in itself. So how are we as a district, how are we as a school, and how are we as a classroom doing, what are we doing to make our program better? So what was mentioned is that although we want to expand our district, we want to make sure that we don't go basically, okay, the district says all classrooms or all schools are going to be dual immersion, because that's not going to help us succeed. We want to make sure that that we can either fail forward, not fail completely, but we want to make sure that we do it in increments, right? So right now, Voorhees is expanding a little bit extra, more classrooms. And then Harris came on board, so now they're expanding theirs, and then slowly we're gonna go up and up. So we're doing a great job in doing it step by step, but we're not completely there where we want to be. So I know that we're at Voorhees working on a language acquisition plan, and we wanna make sure that we continue working on it. It's not just at the district level, it's not Voorhees only, but it's the whole community, teachers, principals, the district, and everybody just coming together and being fully committed to the program. So we want to make sure that we continue, because I could see us getting there. It's going to take a few years from the programs that are considered extraordinary, you know, so we want to make sure that we get there. Translanguaging versus concurrent translation. This is something that has really been on our radar, the word translanguaging. And there's some issues that we feel that it's probably still translation, but it's not. So I think after this presentation, at the conference that I went to, I feel like I got a really good grasp on it now. So the method that they use to explain how you can use translanguaging is called preview, view, and review. And this is basically, I put it in a few colors because blue, it's probably something that you're gonna be previewing in English. And then a view, you're gonna probably do your target language, which is Spanish. And then review, you could choose either or, whatever the student feels comfortable with. So the preview is basically building background knowledge, and you're going to use this with their home language. You can read books, you can do websites on Padlet, or you can watch videos, and they could really do this on their own, and this could be during the asynchronous time, or you can do this during the synchronous time, and you could do it whole class together. And then you move on to the view, which is the lesson in the target language, and our target language is Spanish. So we do the whole lesson in Spanish. Then we go to review, and then this is where you can choose or give the students that option, because it's always great to give students options into what language they want to do it. You can share with your family, you can write, or you can share with a partner. So this is a really good method. A way that I know that, from my understanding, Harris has an English teacher and then a Spanish teacher in their program. So what you can do is in one classroom, you can have the introduction in English, you can have the lesson in English, but then you go further in the second classroom, which is Spanish, and then you actually write about it. You have discussions in Spanish. So it's not translation, it's completely different. If I was translating, I'm gonna tell my students, okay, today we're gonna learn about the Native Americans, and right away I translate, okay, ahora vamos a aprender de los Nativo Americanos. I'm not doing that. I don't want to do that. What I wanna do is I wanna teach in English. If I wanna do the preview, so I'm gonna teach in English, I'm gonna teach the whole lesson in English, and now in Spanish, I'm doing something completely different. I'm not just redoing what I just did. So we need to understand those differences, because it's really important how you can enhance the vocabulary by using translanguaging for your teaching. So it's really important that you do understand that. If you're just in a regular classroom, you're teaching, again, introduction, and then you're viewing, and then you're reviewing. So it's a really good method to use both languages in your classroom.
If I may, Ms. Munoz, since you mentioned Harris, thanks. As you know, it's going to be the beginning for second grade. So we have the TK K1, now it's going to be 2 as a dual immersion grade level. And yes, as you said, I was actually as a support staff member going into different classrooms. And one of my favorite things to do is to go into the dual immersion classrooms as well, and actually make sure that every single student is going to feel validated empowered in terms of what you said before. The language at home is going to be celebrated. So not so much tolerated as celebrated. It's a new emphasis, which is essential for their belonging. Emotional learning has to be present the whole time, in addition to adding those additional vocabulary terms. And yes, then we have, each of the teachers is bilingual in the dual immersion classrooms, very strong in both languages. And so they do as you said, which is one is going to focus on the percentage acquired, or the goal, in this case, 10%, 20%. And the goal is to continue to grow. We love having Borges as our ally and friend, and we love to know that Stern is growing strong as well. So it's becoming a fantastic view towards the future too.
Yes, thank you so much. So that's a really important thing, that we do enhance that language. And I like how you worded it. Instead of tolerating, we're celebrating. So that's really good, because we don't want to have a tolerable mindset. We want to have a, yes, we love it. You know, we want your language, because this is how we're going to expand. This is how we're going to communicate with everyone. We have to understand the differences between social vocabulary versus academic vocabulary, because we need to be using both out in the real world, not just at school.
I would love that we're advocates. We have to continue to advocate for a prestigious dual immersion program. So it's going to be our main focus, is to advocate as a district to make sure that everybody wants to come with us, which is happening already. And everybody with their own unique strengths, we have to emphasize this is an asset. This is one strength. And this is the way of the future as well.
Yes, correct. And thank you for mentioning that. I almost forgot. When we're using our critical consciousness, sometimes people think that it's really hard for, oh, well, this student is in 3rd grade. How can they be talking about race? They're too young. No, they're not young. They're old enough. If they can read, they can write, then we need to be able to teach them that they need to talk about race. They need to talk about the social issues going on in the world, not just because of not because it's going on in the world, but because their academic language will go up. So we need to make sure that everyone understands that doing this is going to benefit them in the long run. I'm going to move on to the strand information. So we first had the speakers, and then we broke out into strand sessions. Mine was given by Doctora Gloria Ramos Gonzalez, and this was basically for new teachers to the program, or new teachers in general. So she gave a lot of information. Again, I'm going to link, I have the links here for the handouts, so it's really great, and I'm going to give them to you. We basically went over a lot of the virtual learning. How are we going to use virtual learning in our classrooms this coming up school year? What type of program are we? We're definitely an additive program where we have the 2 languages. We went over creating our Bitmoji classroom. The tips were to have it not too crowded, because just like in the regular classroom, you don't want to have you don't want to bombard your classroom with things, because then students won't know where to look. You want to make sure that you have it limited to what you want them to see at that moment. And then always embedding both languages, of course. So if you have a classroom that you're only English teacher, then yours is only going to be English. But if you're at a school that you use both languages, then make sure you put both languages in your classroom. How to motivate students. We want to make sure that we motivate students using changing up our strategies if they're not working. If we already used one and we see it worked, then keep using it. If you see that the outcome is not that great, then change it. We want to make sure that we give students choice. So like they were saying before, there's so many resources out there that will help with virtual learning. So we are not going to just tell students, okay, everybody has to do Screencastify. You're going to tell them, okay, some of you guys, I'm going to give you guys 2 choices. You can either give me your presentation through or orally through Screencastify, or you can write an essay. Because there's some kids that don't like speaking in public, and they'll love that essay option. And there's some kids that rather they love to talk. So you want to give them that platform and that option. So make sure that you give them that option to keep them motivated, and you want to have a lot of relevance. Although right now what's going on in the world, it has a lot to do with the coronavirus, the Black Lives Matter movement, but you don't know how your students are feeling. So maybe you can do a quick survey, a quick Google form, and ask them what is it that they're interested at the moment. And maybe you'll find out that they're tired of hearing because all they watch in the news, all they watch on social media is about the coronavirus. So maybe they're tired of that. So maybe you don't want to use it. Or maybe they're really stressed out and they want to have more conversations about it. So you got to make sure that you give them, you survey them, and you know your students. That's with creating rapport, creating relationships. So you want to make sure you use that to your advantage when you're teaching. And again, you want to use, and that's with the third pillar, cultural, social cultural competence. And you can use a lot of things that are relevant to them. Maybe you have a group that's just Hispanic. Maybe there's some things that they really like to do, Dia de los Muertos, and read about Dia de los Muertos, have a book, have presentations, and you can embed your standards within those thematic content lessons. What resources will you use? Again, the links have a lot of more resources. I'm sure you already have so many, but here's some more, so that way you can have options of what to use. She mentioned a lot that we should always add music or poems to our lessons. If you are doing BGLAD and you're trained in that, it's great because some of them already gives you poems and songs to work with and teach lessons off of it. If not, you can just basically find one that is relevant to the time, or some melodies from when you were young. Maybe you can even have students input what songs they want to hear, and then you can create lessons based off of it. And another thing was mentioned that we want to make sure that we choose a language heavy content to teach the target language. So if you're going to be teaching science or social studies, then that would be a really good way to embed and to teach it in Spanish, because it's really helpful. So I'm going to move on to the links. Again, I'm going to go back to this one. This is all linked. So I'm going to click on this, Dr. Jose Medina, and that one's linked directly to the website handout. So you have it here, and it talks about what I spoke about and social cultural competence, the 3 pillars. So each one is linked, and then you have the videos linked as well. So the keynote speakers, if one of them interested you a lot, you want to hear more about them, then you can go here. Okay. And then if we go to the last page, I have linked the SLI standard, SLD, Spanish language development standard, so Spanish and how you can enhance their language, and then the Common Core standards in Spanish. So this is the one that we have already received. I'm sure most of you guys already had it. It's basically the ones that are in black ink, and then the ones specific to Spanish are in light blue. So those are, they're linked directly to each website. And then they gave us this resource of Why We Stay. It's a book. It's called Why We Stay Home. And that one is linked directly to a YouTube video of a teacher reading the book out loud in English. It's basically about the coronavirus. If you want to start off your year kind of discussing it a little bit, and maybe this could be a social emotional learning lesson where you can read the book and have those discussions and see where your students are at. Are they really stressed out, or are they okay that they could move on and not really talk about it? But you want to give them that forum to discuss how they're feeling about it. And here I linked all the handouts that I received, the summer DLI handouts. It's a folder, only BCSD emails can access it, so it's an open link for that. And here I also downloaded the PDFs for the handouts of the keynote speakers. So there's a lot of good information on there. I suggest you really go into it. And on here for the Freemans, they have a checklist on what you can be doing and more tips on how to use translanguaging. So definitely click on that one. And here I downloaded the 2 books, the book in English and in Spanish, Por qué nos quedamos en casa and Why We Stay Home. I haven't really looked at the Spanish one to see if it's correctly translated, but you could definitely print it out or just use it as a PDF, download it to your drive, however you want to use it. Again, guiding principles, you guys already have that link, but it's here again for you. And then the presentations from the strands. So for new teachers on here, I would suggest you look on there, because from this PDF going down, it's a lot of tips on how to create lessons. So I think it's on this one. I'm going to go to it. All the way to the bottom, it's different activities that you can do with songs. So you definitely want to look at that. So right here, actividades para una canción. ¿Cuál es la emoción principal de la canción? ¿Por qué el cantante se sienta así? If we go here, resuma el coro. Piensa en qué está cantando en quién está cantando la canción. So you can use all of these. These are generic with any song. So I would suggest you really look at those resources right here. And this is an example of another lesson. You can break down the song. And then I'm gonna go here to a copy of the DLI 2020 distance learning sites. So these are a bunch of different learning sites that you can use. These are all free. And then it tells you on the right side, on the right column, what subject it's referring to. So some of these you already know, some of them you might not know, but all of these are free. So I suggest you go look at them. On page 3, it explains to you what each one gives. So the first one, students record and share videos. I think that was Screencastify. Yep. And then it explains to you what each one is. So I really suggest you look into them. If you have any questions on them, email me, and then I'll get back to you pretty quick on my email. So just let me know if you have any questions. And that's pretty much it for my presentation. Any questions? I'm sorry if I went really fast.
All right, I think we're going to go ahead and move on. I'm going to share my screen. Thank you, Maria, for sharing that. And again, you will get a copy of that in the presentation. So let me go back here. Okay, Ms. Pacheco.
Alrighty, so I have added, hold on, the link to the DI drive on the chat. Go ahead and click on that. I know this is where we house our, okay, hold on. I need access, sorry.
There you go.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I think.
Oh. Yeah, we can see.
Okay, let me go back. Alrighty, so if our lessons don't make it to the EdTech Center, here's where you would go. 2 important tabs. This is a DI drive that was started back 2 years ago. So there was an attempt to clean it up and to make put things into folders. That's why you'll see the dates there. You can go back to those on your own. But the 2 tabs are mainly this one, the 2020-21 instructional program. That's where you'll go. And again, you'll see by grade spans, the task, DI task force created assignments there. And the other one was the grade level resources. These are also things that we as a DI team vetted for resources for all. So you'll see posters, you'll see, we try to translate the slant to listos. We're working on as a task, as a attack, excuse me. And so some of the things you'll see here. And again, if you need any help, clarification, reach out to us. Go back.
Thank you so much.
So I think we're gonna give you a few minutes to go through, or you need it?
Let's just make sure that everyone is on there. So in the, let's see here. Yeah, we have a few minutes. It's 2:42, so we have about 8 minutes or so. If you guys want to make sure that you do have access to that, I think everyone is on there. Maybe we can go through that, but I know there was other links that we still wanted to go over, I believe.
So let's ask the room, do you need time to go over the DI? Do you think you can navigate through that on your own? Speak now.
I don't see any comments or anything, so, let's see.
Can we have a few minutes to go and check in case? Just one,
I
2
say
minutes.
give a good 6-7 minutes and then come back.
All right.
Thanks.
And this is where all of the slides that we showed you for Spanish are housed in. So definitely go in there and kind of navigate through. I think most teachers set up the slides that they're sharing so that you can make a copy of it. If not, just keep in mind that if you do grab something that you want to use, that you first make your own copy, because some of these might be live documents and we don't want to change something that belongs to the whole group.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
And also feel free to add. Like we said, the more resources, the better. Feel free to add if you create something you'd like to share with us.
Thank you. We will.
Okay, for those of you that can navigate on your own, I'm gonna add in the chat another link to another resource, Common Sense Education. So you can go ahead and browse through that.
This one was mostly, we kind of looked at it, and I think the thing that we took out of it is it has some nice resources for parents. And then it also has digital behavior lessons for students, and it comes in both English and in Spanish. So that was really, I think, what was really nice about that website. I don't know if there was something else on there, Martha.
No, that was pretty much it.
So I will go back here.
And I hope you guys caught that, what I did there. Kids, some of your kids will be moving ahead and ready to go to the next lesson. You can drop a little something in the chat to keep them busy while the rest of your class catches up.
We try, Joel, we try.
Do go on, Joel, do go on.
Let me open that one up very quickly here. So again, the resources, if you're already on the Common Sense one, again, it has a link for parents, and then we're on the direct link to the educator section. So this is the section that I was talking about the digital citizenship. And if you hover all the way to the right, you notice that you have different games as well. So I believe you can assign lessons, or maybe this might be something useful during the asynchronous part of your day where you can kind of assign some lessons and have them work through those, possibly at their own pace. Maybe even making an ed puzzle off of this and making sure that they're answering those things. So this is a great resource if you, again, feel like you need it. So there's definitely an abundance in resources for people. Thank you for sharing that link, Rocio. Do we want to go over the ed tech before we give them time to do the evaluation, Ms. Pacheco?
No, I think pretty much we covered it earlier. We just added there for extra resources where we're getting our material.
Okay, yeah, I would say definitely going through for myself, because I feel like we've been working so much on the technology. I think the Zoom is still something that a lot of people are going to get an updated account. So definitely go through those videos. You guys are going to have more capabilities on your Zoom. And we've been using Zoom all summer, and I feel like we're still figuring it out. So definitely watch those videos, play with it. Get somebody else on that Zoom call with you before you get started to kind of practice the different features that are accessible for you. And I'm not sure if maybe Laura might know when everyone's supposed to get that updated account access.
Yeah, they're working on it. John Deaton is currently working on it, but you're right. We went into actually purchasing a license, and we have different types of licenses, but depending on the positions. But yes, teachers are going to get like more access, more liberties, more security, of course, which is most important. So yeah, you'll be getting it once I think you start, like when it registers that everybody comes back, it'll kick in. You'll get an email that'll say, please like log in or something. You'll get an email, and so then you have to just, you know, it'll be good for like 30 minutes or something like, or maybe more, I can't remember. So you just click on it and it'll take you so it can re-register you. So I mean, everything stays the same. Like if you have a certain picture, it stays the same, but just you have more capabilities. It's really neat.
Okay, great, thank you. All right, so we are at 10 till, so we do want to respect your time, and we know a lot of you might have another session to go to. So right now we're going to put in 2 links. Please fill them both out. One is for you to get paid, which is very important. And then the other one is your evaluation. So please fill both of those out. We are going to hang out in here for a few minutes still. So if you do have any questions, anything like that, please feel free to ask or comment in the presentation.
No, but I do want everybody to know how hard the ladies worked all summer long. It's been a lot of work, and it's, you know, nonstop. So kudos to them. I mean, this is a huge undertaking, and I applaud you for having it ready to go. And so awesome job. It's a lot of work to do this. So thank you for doing that. And ultimately it's for the kids in our district and of course our dual immersion program. So much appreciated. So thank you to Denise, Martha, Maria. And I know Quiñones contributed. I know Elvira contributed. I don't know, Elvira, I just say Elvira because my mom was Elvira, so I don't like Elvira in English, but that's it. How do you say it in English? How would you say it in English?
I don't think you.
Just Elvira or Elvira, that's fine.
Elvira, okay. It's like that song, you know, I'm sure people sing that song to you, huh? You know that song? Elvira?
Yes, all the time.
You recorded, I shouldn't be saying that.
If I could interrupt really quick, this is Joelle. I just wanted to let you know when you fill out the sign out sheet, if you can put DI instead of your grade level. If you didn't, don't worry about it. You'll still get paid, but they do have in the drop down, you'll see one that says DI if you want to go ahead and choose that. You know, because we're different.
All right, guys, and I'll go ahead and put our link, and I'll add the links that was shared earlier. We'll add it to the presentations in their spots. So you'll have those if you have not clicked on them.
And as soon as you have that, again, like I said, once you do those 2, you are free to go. Thank you, everyone, for being here.
Good job. Awesome. Adios.
Thank you.
I do have a question, though. Did you guys put the, oh, I'm sorry, you guys put the presentation link already. That was my question. Thank you.
I was making sure you did your sign out first and the eval.
Yes.
Martha,
Yeah.
I told you smart.
I'll treat you guys are my kids.
All right, guys, I'm out. I'm gonna go into the next one.
All right, thank you.
We should join the next one.
Okay, I'm going to stop the recording or wait until 3 o'clock. I guess we can wait.
I think you could stop. Oh, well, unless anybody has questions that they want us to say for other people.
I'll stop recording. Let's see.